probably think of Kia, you probably think of the Kia Sedana, the Kia Sportage, they're average, everyday, old, tired cars. Well, recently Kia has been trying to update their lineup and redesigning it. So, that's neat. When you think of sedans, you probably think of, the older Toyota Camrys. You probably think of old people and the old people cars that you don't like that are ugly. Now, attempts have been made to bring sedans into the newer generation, but most have failed. They've tried to make them green, economical, but, teenagers and younger people don't really want to buy them because they see them as the cars their parents drive. They want to be different. They don't want to be like their parents. They want to be different. They don't want to drive a sedan, even if it is economical. They'll buy an EV if they want that, and they can't afford either. They've tried to make them sporty. But, teens are not really into sporty anymore. They want stylish rather than sportiness, rather than actual handling, rather than actual drive feel. They want looks. And unfortunately, the looks on, especially the Hondas and Toyotas of the world that are designed to look fast, aren't so fantastic. And they try to be the safe family commuter. But teens don't really care about that. They don't really care about safety. All they want is something stylish that their friends will like, that they need. So they oftentimes end up buying Kias, Hyundais. Well, something interesting has happened. Kia, as you know, has been committed to strengthening the sedan market. They have the Kia Forte. I call it the fart because it's not a good car. One of my friends had a fart, and it went through 7 transmissions, one of them being out of warranty. They're just bad cars. The Kia K5, which I don't really have any stories for it, but it's new. It's replacing the Optima, so that's interesting. But Kia just came out with a new sedan. I'm so used to talking about SUVs. They came out with a new sedan, and people are raving about it. It's the Kia K4. Now, I was hearing about this online in my Reddit group, and I was hearing how people just absolutely love the Kia K4. They're like, oh yeah, the Kia K4 is fantastic. I love the Kia K4. It's so modern. It's so interesting. And I was like, whoa, wait a second. You like the Kia K4, right? I think I was in a bookshop store or something, and they were talking about it. And I asked them why, they said average reasons. Oh, I like the styling of it. I like the way that it looks, all that. And yes, people love the Kia K4. I've been talking to people, hey, what car would you buy if you were going to buy a car? And the Kia K5 reigns supreme, at least here in Florida. People love the Kia K5. Now, when you look at it, why would they like this? Because even though teens don't want to be like their parents, they still want the comfort and normalcy of stuff that their parents had, just brought into the new generation, right? That's why, teens like me, rather than buying, our parents' sedans, we bought hybrid cars or something interesting with the sedans. Sporty sedans, economical sedans. I have a hatchback, but, one and the same. We bought those kind of cars because it's like our parents' cars. It reminds us of home, but it's ever so slightly different in the way that we want it. And that's kind of the Kia K4. Now, if you look at it, it's nothing too special. It's a normal Kia. It is exactly what you would expect. It's got hubcaps. It looks normal. It's got at least 5-spoke wheels. It's got this weird window line that awkwardly jabs into the back of the cat poop rear. And it's got a rear door handle in a place that it doesn't belong that moves into this weird arch stuff. But the styling has worked. Teens, especially teens, and I know, people in their 18s, love this car. And I don't get why. And the even interesting part about this, it's very rare that the public, especially young people, will get to liking a car and then they can actually have it and afford it, right? That's very rare. Or there are justifiable reasons for buying the car, right? They usually see it, they look at the styling, they look at the design, oh, I want that, and then they buy it, and that's usually how it goes. But I've actually found there's a very nice, solid justification for the Kia K4. In fact, a justification that I might consider when buying my next car. It is cheap. Now, before we get into that, let's look at the Kia K4 on Kia's website. Let's scroll down here. So you've got the Forte at $19,000, the Kia K4 at $21,000, and the K5 at $27,000. Now, why wouldn't teens like the Forte? Well, the Forte is slow. The Forte is tired. The Forte is done. The Forte is cooked. The Forte is gone. Is that just something they do? Did they cancel the Forte? They canceled the Forte. You can't do that, man. What about the Forte? Anyway, so they came up with this. They came up with this new car, the K4. And look at it. It is cheap. It is efficient. It's neat looking, right? It comes in all kinds of colors while being cheap, and that is just what teens want. So why is this so cheap? Well, that's compared to other things. We've got a 2025 Toyota Kia K4, Toyota Kia K4. A 2025 Kia K4, a 2024 Toyota Camry, because the 2025 is too expensive because it's a hybrid, so that doesn't really count. And then a 2025 Honda Accord. And these are all at their base trim level, and we can see the Kia K4 with similar spacing and room to the rest of them is about $5,000 cheaper, $7,000 cheaper than the Honda, and $5,000 cheaper than the Toyota. So that's a big thing, but when we look at the gas mileage, it gets better gas mileage than both of those cars. Granted, it has less horsepower, but it's also front-wheel drive. It also has 5 seats. Now, most of you will say, oh, well, the Kia K4 is in a different car class. It really isn't. When you look at it, technically this isn't the car class of a Corolla. It's not. This is a mid-size sedan. The K5 is the full-size sedan. This is the Camry killer. This is the Camry substitute. And we can see here, it's so much cheaper. Keep in mind when you're looking at these statistics, it's got a smaller engine. Whatever. But it also has a CVT transmission, which is what teens like. They like that feedback. They're used to it. It gets better gas mileage. And even though it has a smaller engine, just look at the price. The price, I would say, is worth it, right? Again, pretty simple, pretty decent car with a cheap, fancy look on it, with a cheap, fancy face on it. We can see it has a better turning diameter, curb to curb, than the Toyota Camry. Rack and pinion steering like the rest of them. The second shoulder room, 55 inches. The rest managed to be slightly. That's kind of the theme here. Sometimes it's in the middle of the two. Jokers to the right, clowns to the left of me. Here I am. Anyway, it's pretty similar to the other cars, and yet it is so much cheaper. And I think this is just a quick video. This doesn't really count. I think this is really neat. I don't like Kia. I think they're cheap. I think they try and get people who wouldn't otherwise normally buy a new car to buy a new car because it's so cheap, right? The average price of a new car, I think, is $24,000. So when you could get this for $3,000 less than the average used car, that's it. It's your average teen. And your parents want you to buy something normal. They want you to buy your 2017 Toyota Corolla or your 2018 Honda Civic. Those cars are going to be around $24,000. Why would you spend money on that when you can get a $21,000 Kia K4? So these teens are pulled in by the styling, right? They love the styling. I kind of get it. I hate the rear window. I think that's a little bit choppy offiness, especially for how they set up the black gutter mark there. Like you would think that it would continue, but it doesn't. I don't like the rear visibility. I haven't test driven one yet, so, I don't know. But just from the styling of the car, it looks neat. It looks modern. That's what pulled them in, and then the price and the gas mileage has kept them there. And usually I'd be opposed to this. Usually I'd be like, Kia, these are going to have so many issues. And the reason why my opinion has changed is not because I think that these will not have those issues. They most certainly will have the constant iconic Kia car crap issues. The reason why I like this is because it kind of lights a fire under Toyota and Honda. For the first time in a long time, Kia is a better option. Kia is cheaper. Kia gets better gas mileage. Kia, sometimes, probably, with the new Toyotas coming out, are more reliable. So hopefully this sets a fire under Toyota and Honda to start making cars for real people that actually want cars, instead of pandering and trying to do EVs because you think that that's cool. So, with that, thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And what do you think of the Kia K4 and this phenomenon? Go talk to a young person. If you have a son or a daughter or something, go ask them, what car do you want to buy? They're going to say something Kia or a Kia K4. And this is the trend. They're just making small, cheap cars that people love. I can't fault them for that. Kia and Hyundai are like the only people making cars for what the car industry actually wants. And that is the real shocker. I mean, Toyota, that's how they beat GM. GM was making these big, stinking, honking cars. And when the consumers asked for something, GM overdid it with 17 different platforms and 7 different brands. And yet Toyota effortlessly gave the consumers exactly what they wanted. Some style, some reliability, some sportiness, something to keep you entertained. And that made GM feel obsolete. Now it seems that the establishment, Toyota and Honda, are having laps run around them by Kia and Hyundai. Because Kia and Hyundai are the new Toyota. They're making cars for what the people want. Toyota and Honda. Honda's got the Prostate, the Prologue, and Toyota's got the BZ4X. No one wants either of those cars, and yet they wasted their money on producing them. They're wasting their time selling them. And that's not actually what the car industry wants. And that's more reflective of their overall lineups as a whole. Meanwhile, Hyundai and Kia, they're not pandering. They're just making what the auto industry buyers, the consumers, actually want. And that's why the Kia K4 and Kia and Hyundai in general, I predict, their sales will go up and they'll do great. And that's good for them. You want to know what? I cannot fault a company just because I disagree with them on they build crap cars. But other than that, I can't fault them for doing what I want car companies to do. In fact, I may look into them. Who knows? Maybe the reliability could go up, and maybe I'd drive a Hyundai. I'd drive an Ioniq if they brought the reliability up. So with that, thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and